What's up, guys? How y'all doing today? Well, baby, if your name is Diddy, I know you are in your jail cell, punch in the air. Because why? Listen, the truth that he tried so hard to suppress, the truth that he tried to get his minions to put out there, it has finally been destroyed by 50 Cent. Now, oddly enough, 50 Cent knows how to end a career along with Alex and Vanessa that worked on Diddy, The Reckoning. Now, one person that showed up in there was Kirk Burrows. A lot of people kept asking, who's Kirk Burrows? Who's Kirk Burrows? We're going to tell you who Kirk Burrows is. He is the missing link. He was around Diddy from day one. He was actually the founder of Bad Boy. And if you go to my channel, I would believe I was the first person to read Kirk Burrows' lawsuit that he sued Diddy and Janice Combs for stealing Bad Boy right from under him by force. Y'all, let's get into this, okay? Because the question that everybody's asking, who is Kirk Burrows? And there is going to be spoiler alerts from the Diddy documentary, 5 shocking things you might not have known. Don't worry, this won't spoil the documentary because there is even more tea in there straight from Kirk Burrows' mouth. But anyway, they said, who is Kirk Burrows? Bad Boy founder speaks his truth in the Sean Diddy Combs documentary, okay? While working alongside Diddy, Kirk took handwritten notes, which were shown for the first time in the Diddy doc. Remember how everybody's like, how come you didn't say anything back then? Well, guess what? They did. And Kirk Burrows, I will say one thing, would be the perfect person to start a business with. He is very detailed oriented. He is very blue. If you know anything about red, yellow, green, blue personalities, he makes sure all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed. He is meticulous. And guess what? He took notes from his time with Diddy. Now, I'll get into this. One of the most explosive moments in Sean Combs' The Reckoning involves friends turned rivals, Tupac Shakur and Notorious Big, both of whom were murdered at the peak of their fame. How their story intertwines with Sean Combs' own is detailed by a number of individuals. However, the person we're worried about, you know, they even got the detective that was investigating the Tupac murking case and the Keith D mess. Anyway, they said these stories were echoed by Kirk Burrows, a longtime former colleague and friend of Diddy, who took contemporaneous notes, handwritten notes, right, in journals, contemporaneous. Oh yeah, the time-space continuum, okay. They said from day zero, I wrote everything down every day so I could keep track of everything I needed to do. I ran all the money, all the budgets for the company, as well as a lot for his personal life and all that came with it. Now, the director, Alexandria Stapleton, says the journals were a gold mine. They said Kirk needs to write a book. They said Kirk had maybe 30 boxes of those journals. We pulled them out of storage, and one of my producers literally took them to her place. It was probably Vanessa. And we just scanned and scanned and scanned and scanned. Now, Kirk Burrows' accounts of his time at Bad Boy Entertainment tell a story of a startling transformation that took place in 4 short years, beginning and ending with the label's relationship with Big, known as Biggie. Biggie back then was a rising star. He was the person that catapulted Bad Boy into, along with everyone else. But Biggie's death, Diddy used that to catapult himself. Now, if you guys don't know, Diddy even used Biggie's money, the recomp. So that came out of the money that was supposed to go to his family to pay for Diddy's own funeral, took credit for it. Vibe magazine wanted to do a memorial for Biggie on the cover, and Diddy demanded he be on. Yo, Diddy ain't loved no one. And I'm glad everybody's seeing what a POS he is. Anyway, I know y'all here for the Kirk Burrows, right? They said Biggie had mutual respect and a huge friendship with Tupac Shakur. He said Diddy was insanely jealous of Biggie and Pac's friendship. For Sean, being a marketer, you're a manipulator. And there's envy for people who have success and fame with no manipulation. He said, as Tupac and Biggie's fame grew, their friendship became complicated with public displays of East versus West Coast hostility between Bad Boy and Death Row, who Tupac eventually signed with. Tupac was murked in September 1996 in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas after attending a Mike Tyson boxing match. 6 months later, Biggie was killed in a drive-by shooting. Now, the documentary doesn't come out and say it. It lets you make their own mind up. But when you see the timeline, you start to be like, yo, did Diddy have something to do with Tupac's passing? And the weird thing is, Diddy, it seems like, is the reason why Biggie is in the grave. I'm going to leave that to the documentary, but I don't know. Seems like it to me. Blah, 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 blah. They said it was really he said it was really Keith D and Puffy Combs are the last men standing. That was the detective on the case. Hold on really quick. Now pay attention to this, because Kirk Burrows has written proof of this, that everything he's saying is true. So the detective said it's really Keith D and Puffy who are the last men standing. In 2023, investigators offered Keith D mitigated sentencing if he cooperated with law enforcement during the Proffer session, in which any self-incriminating information would not be used against him in a criminal prosecution. During the taped session, which was played in the documentary, Keith D reveals that a year before Tupac's murder, Diddy allegedly made a general announcement during a party in a whole room full of Crips that Diddy would give anything for Suge Knight and Tupac's murking. Keith also alleges in a separate occasion, Diddy offered $1 million bounty for their death. Now get this. Moreover, the Proffer session tapes also include audio of Keith D describing a compartment, which Eric Von Zip Martin described in the documentary as a drug lord from Harlem who Burrows, Kirk Burrows, Diddy's partner in crime, well, partner in business, not partner in crime, alleges he was so he's basically saying that Diddy said Eric Von Zip, who was a street dude, was Diddy's uncle. Okay? They said, so he said Eric had a concealed gun in his car, which Kading says was reportedly driven in from out of town. Kirk Burrows' journals contain entries during an event that took place a few days before Eric Von Zip's arrest, in which Diddy had requested they rent cars to travel from New York to Los Angeles to attend a fight. Not fly in, but drive. That was an unusual request given the distance and the inconvenience. Despite being confused about the logistics, Kirk Burrows arranged the rentals and noted the expenses in his journals, which are shown in the documentary. Thank God. You know what? I wonder, is this Keith D's trial was moved back? I wonder if Diddy's going to be dragged into it. They said Sean Combs has repeatedly and forcefully denied any involvement in the death of Tupac. He's never been charged with any crime or connection with the case. At the time of filming, Keith D is set to stay on trial in 2026, and now claims the proffer was made under duress. No arrests have been made in connection with the murder of Notorious B.I.G. So Kirk Burrows says this. Yo, with Sean, sometimes you're humiliated. Sometimes you're made an example of. Sometimes violent things happen to you. Through the years, a lot of bad things happen to good friends. The beginning of the end of Burrows' time with Bad Boy Entertainment stemmed from Biggie's contract, when it had just been renegotiated shortly before his murder. As described in the documentary and as a civil suit against Combs, Kirk Burrows alleges that Diddy wanted the contract to be altered to be more favorable to Bad Boy Entertainment by replacing pages of the signed agreement without anyone else's knowledge. So he wanted Kirk Burrows to snake Biggie over after Biggie got a good contract, which makes you think Biggie wasn't really that valuable to Diddy after that, right? Because Diddy only liked people he could profit from, okay? And Biggie might have gotten so big, he might have left the label. There were rumors that he was trying to leave the label before he got it renegotiated. He then asked Kirk to go in and do some slimy stuff and replace pages to make it look like Diddy signed a different contract. Get this, Kirk Burrows refused to do it. 90 days later, he was fired. In 2003, he sued Diddy over his affiliation with Bad Boy, and the case was dismissed, but that's because statute of limitations, not because it didn't have merit. In 2025, he filed another suit that remains pending at the time of filming. Since aspiring and his 2003 lawsuit, Kirk describes an experience in which he struggled to maintain his career. Doesn't it sound familiar, like what Capricorn Clark said? He said, for 25 years, I was basically blacklisted and banned. Next thing you know, shelters and homelessness. Today, Kirk Burrows tells people that get this. Kirk Burrows tells people that despite the battles, he's been hard at work on TV and film projects and has a new company, Pop Life Entertainment. He said, I'm back. I'm stronger than ever with incredible stories to tell and the infrastructure to make them real. I know that's right. Kirk Burrows says, this moment, this platform is something far greater. He says, it's my opportunity to finally speak my truth. Guided and empowered by my Lord and Savior, I remain steadfast. The battle is not over, but neither am I. I know that's right. Everybody Diddy thought he buried in the ground arose like it was a resurrection. And baby, they are all taking a chance and taking the time to throw more dirt on his grave. Listen, Alexandria, Vanessa, 50, they all did what needed to be done. Sean Diddy Combs' reign of terror is over. He is not coming back from this. And please, and let that devil rest. Anyway, y'all, listen, let me know what you think in the comments. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.